All right, so we've just started recording. And for those folks that need it, I've made sure to turn on closed captioning on the bottom of your screen so you can follow along that way as well. This is Chamber Music America's 2023 Ensemble Forward program application workshop. And the application deadline is going to be October 13th, 2022, 11:59 p.m. Eastern Time, with a notification of December 2022. Grants that are made through this program are funded through the generosity of the New York Community Trust. So about Ensemble Forward, Chamber Music America's Ensemble Forward program is an initiative for emerging ensembles that perform Western European classical and contemporary chamber music and are based in the 5 boroughs of New York City. The goals of this program are to support ensembles at a crucial time in their career development, so their early career development, and to help them navigate an increasingly demanding cultural landscape. We have our statement of commitment to diversity, inclusion, and equity here. So CMA's board of directors has made diversity, inclusion, and equity a primary focus of the organization's work, and they've adopted the acronym ALANA, which stands for African/Black, Latine, Asian/South Asian, sorry about that, Arab/Middle Eastern, and Native American for use in its equity focus. You can read the full statement through this link once that link goes live on the website in terms of this presentation, or you can go to the actual page on our website that has that information and look at the ins and outs of our diversity, equity, and inclusion statement. So what does this program support? CMA is going to provide grant funding within this program for ensembles to work with an established chamber music coach to help them develop their distinctive ensemble sound, make career information resources available to them, and we'll talk a little bit about that later, create networking opportunities for ensemble musicians to meet each other, as well as composers and presenters, and further enlarge their professional circles. Part of that information and resources is specifically this bullet point, career training and advancement through CMA's learning residentials, and then financial support for making a demo recording. So what makes an ensemble eligible? An ensemble is eligible if it consists of 2 to 10 musicians. It's based in one of the 5 boroughs of New York City. A minimum of 1 member of the ensemble is a U.S. citizen or permanent resident, and it performs Western European classical and/or contemporary chamber music. Regarding ensemble members, members can be recent conservatory, college, or community college graduates, or reach a high level of performance through other music instruction. You can include a member that's on track to graduate before December 2023, but student ensembles are not eligible. You must have no more than 5 years of development into your professional career. And then if you're a prior Ensemble Forward grant recipient, the ensemble applicant needs to have finished the prior project and submitted that final report for that project. In regards to the coach, applicants to the program must apply with an ensemble coach who's an experienced artist educator from the classical and/or contemporary music field. And applicants can consult with us as CMA staff to help identify a coach for their ensemble or to engage with a coach of their choice. The coach additionally must be a citizen or permanent resident of the US. So what are grant funds designated for? The ensemble coaching sessions, the ensemble and coach fees or payments, and then the demo recording. Specifically for the ensemble and coach fees, right, that's a total of $1,000 per ensemble musician for 5 sessions. So $200 per session per musician times the 5 is the 1,000. Those sessions must be completed by December 31st of 2023. A total of $2,500 for the coach, so $500 per session for 5 sessions to work with the ensemble, and sessions must be a minimum of 90 minutes. Finally, there's the demo recording, and that support in the amount of $4,000 for making a demo recording. So for example, if you're in a quartet, your grant would be in the amount of $10,500 that you would receive if you were to receive a grant, $4,000 for the ensemble, right? $1,000 for each ensemble member. The $2,500 total for the coach fee, the $500 times the 5 sessions, and then the $4,000 for the demo recording. Additionally, all of the grantees who are selected will receive complimentary registration for the ensemble to attend the national conference from January 5th to the 8th, 2023, taking place in New York City. The learning residential component, which I mentioned at the beginning. So what these learning residentials look like, they're a 6-month curriculum, and they'll actually commence during the CMA National Conference. So grantee ensembles will be able to attend workshops, and they're led by industry professionals, and they'll be offering relevant career development expertise. A lot of these topics are going to be topics, right, that younger ensembles in their first 5 years, and even, right, more mature ensembles have plenty of questions on. So organizational management, budgeting, taxes, fundraising, marketing and copyright. Sessions will also be held on the Hopin platform. So you'll be able to go into the Hopin platform to be able to see when sessions are happening. You'll also receive those emails as to when the sessions are happening as well. Grantee ensembles will also receive mentorship by the learning residential presenters. We'll be able to help them create action plans for implementation that could support the groups as well. And then the ensemble will need to have ensemble representation at each of the workshops offered. Part of receiving grant funding will be check-ins with CMA staff throughout the group's progress in the grant cycle. Also, that membership, as I mentioned, grantees will receive 1-year complimentary CMA ensemble level membership. So what's the written application going to look like? We'll be looking for the ensemble size, the list of musicians and the instrumentation, some background on the ensemble, some background about the coach that you're going to work with, coaching session information overall. So that's going to be details about what you're hoping to get coached on, and sort of what type of work you're hoping you can speak with your coach about during those sessions. And then finally, ensemble career development information. Regarding the audio samples, 2 ensemble audio samples are required and must be uploaded to the online application. Your samples should be up to 5 minutes each and feature works for a small ensemble, which we define, right, as those 2 to 10 musicians. Samples need to demonstrate your ensemble's performance level, and they need to feature either the full ensemble or at least 50% of the musicians. If there's contrasting works, you would want to include those if possible. We don't recommend soloistic works. Duos specifically must submit works with both partners. Submittable won't let you submit any file other than an MP3 or M4A file. So MP3 and M4A are the only file types that we'll accept for audio. And while the samples don't need to be of studio quality, they still need to be clear, and they should still represent the ensemble's performance within the past 2 years. So what does it look like to apply? You'll want to create your free submittable account or log into your existing account. You can type directly into the online form. I would recommend the latter part of this segment here of drafting your application in an offline document. That will allow you to edit things without worrying about it timing out or being lost or not saving. Right, if you draft it in the offline document, you can copy and paste it right into the live application form. And then clicking save draft on the bottom of the application to make sure it's saved, submittable, will actually save your draft for more than 21 days now. That's just an artifact that's there. We don't accept any applications outside of the submittable platform, so you won't be able to email your submissions to us. They'll have to be submitted only through submittable. You can upload the items in the accepted file formats, and the file formats will always be listed for you right in submittable. And then make sure that you label your audio files as follows. So ensemble name followed by audio 1, ensemble name followed by audio 2. And that just makes it easier during the panel process for things to get reviewed and for your files not to get misplaced in the shuffle of just so many applications being entered in at the same time. So what does a complete application include? There will be your complete written application. There will be your audio samples for your ensemble. And then you want to have a memorandum of understanding right between the ensemble and the coach. So that agreement that the ensemble and the coach are working together. So think of the application process as a 4-step process. You're preparing the different pieces of your application. You're uploading all of those required files. You're clicking submit when you're done. And then CMA will confirm the receipt via email. That email will actually come and be auto-generated specifically from Submittable. What that means is when you email that email back, or respond to that email, you're not actually going to get myself or Susan Dadian, who's our Associate Director of Grant Programs. What you'll get within that particular email response is it'll go to the back end of Submittable, which means it'll be harder for us to find. There'll be a delay in the response there because the delay is going to come from either myself or the Associate Director. So if you're responding back, just make sure to respond back to one of us rather than responding to the auto-generated email. So the panel basics, what does the panel look like? It's US-based musicians, professionals who are reviewing the applications, and they're New York-based musicians. The panel evaluation takes place through an anonymous listening process. And the panel is going to take place in late to early November. The applications are going to be reviewed during that time, and then the applicants will be notified in December. The panel is going to review the written application, so this will be a little bit redundant, right? The why and the how of the coaching sessions and how they'll be beneficial to your artistic development as an ensemble. The proposed repertoire for the coaching sessions, the reason for those choices, why you've chosen a particular coach, what's the plan for working with them, and then how do you see the learning residentials, those workshop components as being valuable for the career of the ensemble of the group. The panel will also review the audio samples. So specifically, they'll look for the artistic growth based on the samples. And then again, that evaluation is through anonymous listening. So that information that connects each ensemble to the piece will be blinded. Or better said, it will be anonymized. So scoring, notes, and feedback, the panel uses a scoring system of 10 excellent, 4 good, very good, 1 non-competitive. The panelists will write notes on their review sheets, and then that becomes the panel feedback. So the scores and the notes in combination, which after the notifications are made, applicants who've gotten a declination are welcome to come to us, get that panel feedback from CMA's grant programs folks. Also for grantees, you can also have your feedback reviewed as well, so that you have those notes for your own usage and for future applications, either with CMA or with other granting agencies. So if they're awarded an Ensemble Forward grant, one member of the ensemble must serve as the primary contact for the grant. They'll be responsible for being that grant contact, providing the government issued documentation as proof of that citizenship or permanent residency status, proof of their New York City domicile, their New York City residence. They'll be confirming that residency status for their coach. They'll be scheduling the coaching sessions, documenting what was done for the demo recording, receiving and managing the funds, and then filing out the final reports. There's a 75-25 split for the disbursement of funds. So 75% of the award includes the coaching, the demo recordings, after signing the contract, and then the 25% is received after the final report is received. The grant funds are taxable income. Grantees must comply with all applicable city, state, and federal laws, ordinances, codes, and regulations regarding the reporting of grant funds. So that's just an internal point to keep in mind, right? The grant funds are going to be considered taxable income for the purposes of IRS getting your taxes done, right? All of the minutia that comes on the admin side. For resources that you can look at on our website or when this is sent via email, you can see the list of grant awards and past recipients. You can take a look at our press room, which has past press releases, right, which will allow you to see sort of past projects that were worked on, things of that nature. And then there'll be that link to the statement of commitment to diversity, inclusion, and equity. And finally, if you have any questions, here's my contact information, Jose R. Feliciano, Director of Grant Programs, and you can find me at jfeliciano@chamber-music.org. And with that said, I'll stop the share. And then if anyone has any questions, you can feel free to ask me once we are back in the chat. Thank you.